All right, guys, so to preview the NFC, and we're going to begin today in the NFC East, a fan favorite around here. The Eagles won it at 9-7 last year. Can the new look Cowboys, the grinding Giants, or that other football team catch them, Jay?
No. Well, look, Dallas, look, we know Dallas and Philly, they're really the only two teams of relevance in this division. I think this is the worst division in football. I don't see it really changing all that much from last season. It really has all to do with the Cowboys. If you're here and going to tell me, oh, the Cowboys, they're going to figure it out. They're going to finally realize their potential. Mike McCarthy's going to come in there and actually coach, as opposed to doing the sideline clap routine. Well, okay, then I guess I can get behind that. But I'm not with that. I need to see it before I believe it, and I definitely don't see it right now. So yeah, the Eagles they get the repeat by default to some extent in this division. Dallas will be at 8-8, customarily where they fall, and then the Giants and the football team, they'll be 3rd and 4th. They will be a distant 3rd and 4th. I think Washington will be the worst team in the league this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Listen, it's very evident that Carson Wentz, he a winner. You give him 2 trash bags and a couple of glow sticks, and let's make something out of this. It's very hard for me to go against that. The Cowboys breaking in a new coach, better known as Jerry Jones. Well, I ain't even gonna do it, but they bringing in a new coach, maybe a new system, but they did keep Kellen Moore around, so who knows how that turns out. They lost a lot of pieces on the defense side of the ball, so I just can't see them being better by losing more pieces than they were last year. And then the Giants, Saquon Barkley, old Danny Dimes, they got to be good for a couple of wins. They're coming in the hot third, and then the old football team. We expect them to win games. They can't even properly use their time correctly, but we expect them to win games. Listen, sorry, Ron Rivera, but you stepped in it with this one. So yeah, I'm looking at it for the NFC East. I'm sorry, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, and that Washington football team.
Yeah, I'm close to y'all. I a little bit different. I'm feeling the Cowboys just because it's like now or never type thing. I think the coaching change will do them a lot of good. They had a great draft. I mean, Dak Prescott is out of excuses. He's going to be playing his ass off for a contract. Yeah, they lost some guys, but you also got Everson Griffin, Dontari Poe to go along with DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, you're going to have a pretty good defensive line. You should have a great offense, and it might be just enough. That little bit of change of scenery sometimes can kind of push teams over the edge. And I didn't like the Eagles offseason. I'll be honest, I really didn't. Jalen Reagor was a streaky pick at 21. I didn't like Jalen Hurts. The Jalen Hurts pick felt like a ridiculous value pick or a reach sort of luxury pick. That's what I'm looking for. And they lost a lot of guys. They lost Timmy Jernigan, Nigel Bradham, Ronald Darby, Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, those are some good players, and they get a little up in the age, but I don't know. That, and you factor in the health of Wentz, that makes me think the Cowboys might be a game or two better. I think the Giants could be much improved over their 4-12 record, but probably not enough to push for the division. And, yeah, that's going to leave Washington down there in last place. So next up is the NFC North, very competitive at the top. Green Bay has lost some talent. Minnesota gained some talent. The Bears still have Trubisky, and Matt Patricia still has a pencil in his ear. So who takes this one, Drake?
I think it's a good sizable gap between the Vikings and the Packers. I think the Vikings will win the division, clearly. Packers is clearly the second best team, even though for everything that we don't like about them, there's no way you're going to sell me on the Bears and the Lions being better than the Packers. Bob the Builder, I think he's going to be a lame duck coach for Detroit this year, so I don't expect a whole lot out of them. And the Bears, we still trying to figure out what they're doing with the quarterback position. We heard Mitch Trubisky won the job, but for how long? A half? A full game? Who knows? So we still got the APP out on that. I think this is a pretty simple one. It's going to be the Vikings, the Packers, Bears, and then the Lions.
Yeah, I like what Minnesota did in the offseason. I thought their draft was one of the better drafts. They traded away Stephon Diggs, but they replenished that right away, bringing in Justin Jefferson. So they're still well versed at the wide receiver position with him and Thielen. They did lose a little bit on the defensive side, but I got faith in Mike Zimmer. He's still one of the best defensive-minded coaches out there. I think he can scheme it up better than most. And it's just, look, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's going to come to play. That'll be enough. He'll set the stage for the play action and Kirk Cousins. It'll be enough. And then when you talk about Green Bay losing some talent, they lost their minds too with some of the things that we see going on this draft with, the likes of bringing in Jordan Love and drafting A.J. Dillon and wide receiver. No, we're fine. We have Devontae Adams and, a couple of rakes. So they're okay. I still think Aaron Rodgers is good enough to carry him to some sort of prominence, but I think it's Minnesota's division to win. Green Bay will be in second. You're right about Chicago. Mitchell Trubisky won the job. I don't know what that means. I really don't. It's just, I guess Nick Foles outside of Philadelphia is just, he's a mythical creature. And then, Detroit will be very bad.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I love the Vikings offseason, everything they've done. I think the addition of Yannick Ngakoue across from Daniel Hunter could be really good. I still think Ngakoue has some Pro Bowl talent in him. You couldn't quite see it in Jacksonville. But I think they've got a really good thing going. The Packers, they had a rough offseason, man. That draft wasn't good. You got animosity brewing in that building. I don't think Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers get along that well. I just get a feeling they don't. And I think there's a disconnect there, which isn't good. And who'd they add? They added Christian Kirksey and Rick Wagner. It was the only two dudes I could see that were meaningful rivals, that weren't just re-signs. I don't think the Packers are nearly as good this year. I think they're going to struggle to get into the playoffs at all. And the Bears can be bad. Like, the Bears might be one of those teams you're just like, ooh, what happened? And the Lions, they're going to do whatever it is they do. But let's go on and head south. The Saints look to hold on down there, but Tampa Bay just signed every offensive player they could. Dan Quinn's coaching for his job in Atlanta, and Matt Rule rebuilds in Carolina. So, Drink, how's this one shaking out?
This division is for the Saints to lose, I think. Now, do I like that the other three teams upgrade? Let me backtrack. The other two teams upgraded their rosters, and to make the division more competitive. I love that. We got Tampa Bay around there. Let me tell you something. Not only just the Bucks, like Tom Brady then went down there and changed everything about this team. Like, I thought the Buccaneers, since the John Gruden era, was just like it's this franchise that floating around. Since they have signed Tom Brady, this has been one of the most talked about franchises in the NFL this offseason, the draft. We didn't pay attention to every single thing Tampa Bay has done since Brady has been. And all these teams, all these players just flocking to Tampa Bay all of a sudden. Couldn't find them on the map. Now everybody just flopping to them. So I think that's quite interesting. But with all that said, you're playing, a team that got a lot of continuity, a team that knows how to win, a team that's been on top of their game for quite a while. So I think the Saints will be 1, Bucks will be 2. I like what the Panthers did in the draft. They really made it kind of work in that draft. They drafted all defensive players, and like Jay said, they needed all defensive players because it was looking pretty doggone bad on that side of the ball. And then you got the Falcons. Look, Dan Quinn is just like Bob DeBildo at Detroit for the Detroit Lions. This is a lame duck season. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot out of the Falcons other than a couple of firings towards the end of the season. So, yeah, I got the Saints, Bucks, Panthers, and Falcons. That's how I look at the NFC South.
Yeah, pretty much exact same. I think New Orleans, I look at New Orleans, I think they'll be the team to beat this year in the NFC, despite the last 3 seasons of the most hilarious and comical ways to exit the playoffs. But one last hurrah for Drew Brees and Sean Payton together. Alvin Kamara, I think he has a big bounce back season. I love the addition of Emmanuel Sanders to go with Michael Thomas. Jared Cook at tight end, they're very solid. And then on defense, that's the difference to me between them and Tampa Bay. I think New Orleans has a complete defense, whereas Tampa Bay is lacking to a significant degree in their secondary. Also wondering about their offensive line, how good they'll be protecting Tom Brady, even though they shored up a little bit with the drafting of Tristan Wirfs. But of course, their weaponry offensively is not to be denied. Brady, Gronk, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. That you got Leonard Fournette in there now. LaShawn McCoy. The list goes on and on. I think they'll be a hot second, and then Atlanta, Carolina. Yeah, who even cares?
That's brutal. Yeah, I mean, obviously y'all are spot on. I'm buying the Tampa Bay story, hook, line, sinker. I mean, just hook me up, just rip my cheek out with it, because I think these guys are going to be so good and so much fun to watch. Defense is questionable, but man, Tom Brady with these kind of weapons, and now Leonard Fournette not being exclusively game plan for. I mean, he ain't kidding when he says he's never had a quarterback. I think he's going to do some big things. Not in the first week or two, but down the road, I'm buying it right now. And I think the Saints be a very close second. I think that division comes down to week 16, week 17, maybe the last division we know who's set for the playoffs. And then, yeah, the Panthers are going to struggle a lot with a lot of rookies and second-year guys. That's probably one of the younger rosters in the league. And I think the Falcons will maybe get a couple wins early, but they probably would dismantle at some point and might get ugly there in Atlanta before it wraps up. All right, last division. We wrap up with the NFC West, possibly the most competitive division in the NFL. Super Bowl runner-up 49ers are going head-to-head with Russell Wilson in Seattle, Sean McVay's big brain offense in L.A., and that new duo of Murray and Hopkins out in Arizona. So, any of them going to challenge the 49ers, Jay?
Oh, most certainly. I know, listen, Seattle, one of those teams, you can go ahead and just book it. You know, that we know they'll be in the playoffs. They bring in Jamal Adams to, fortify that defense. I think that'll be a great benefit to them. Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, the offensive line out there, it's optional. It's been optional for years because Russell Wilson is that dude who just can carry the load. I think this is the year he wins. He gets the MVP award. I think San Francisco, there's a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover, not a complete one. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but I'm just wondering about them in a couple spots. They lose DeForest Buckner. I know they got Javon Kinlaw. He'll slide in for him. I don't know how great that'll look right away, even though there's still plenty of talent around him with the Nick Bosa's of the world and Eric Armstead and so on and so forth. I think the Emmanuel Sanders loss, I think that's going to hurt him to some degree. The passing attack outside of, Deebo Samuel, I think they're a little thin out there at wide receiver still. But I think they'll ultimately be fine. Arizona, I think they'll be much improved. I just think they'll be a year away from seriously contending. And, the whole Rams thing, it was cute a couple years ago. It's about to get ugly out there.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, step for step with what Jay got. I think the Seahawks, they just – look, listen, Russell Wilson is a winner. That's all it is to it. Since he didn't got drafted by that franchise, all he done is win. You gave him, you give him whatever you give him on the offensive line, and he still won. I mean, he has shown what you can get if you actually get him, a little protection and, some guys on the other side. That's going to pencil you in for a Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there. Clearly, Pete Carroll don't care about that no more. And then you got the 49ers. I think the 49ers most definitely take a step back. I think a lot of teams seen what happened last year, and they're going to force Jimmy Garoppolo into action a lot more this year. So we're going to be forced to see Jimmy Garoppolo actually win more games with his arms. They're not going to let that run game beat them. Now, you still got to play the game. However, I think they will force a change in philosophy in Kyle Shanahan's offensive philosophy from last year. So they take a step back. And then, like Jay said, the Cardinals, I really like the Cardinals. I think they make a drastic improvement just because we have to remember it was Cliff Kingsbury first year. Then you had Kyler Murray rookie year, right? And Larry Fitzgerald was the threat. Well, now Larry Fitzgerald can get some of that shine off of him and just be that slot receiver while DeAndre Hopkins is going to get more of the double teams. Not to mention an underrated move that I think people overlook is they got Kenyon Drake from the Dolphins last year. Once he came over, he was rushing the ball so good. They said, "Hey, David Johnson, pack your bags, you're out of here." So with that said, that's something else to look at. I thought their draft was all right. I think the Cardinals is a surprise team, not nothing crazy, but they'll definitely be better than this next team, the Rams. Listen, the Rams, you used the credit card for the last couple of years. Now this year you had to pay the money back, and it hurt really bad. It's all good when you use your parents' credit card and they don't know it, and you out here buying everything under the sun. You just feeling like, oh, life is great, nothing better than this, until they find out you're using it. Now you can sleep on the back porch. Here's the deal. Jay said it. He said this already. Like the time is up. No more. You can't pull the wool over our eyes no more, Sean McVay. Time is up. The collection agency is coming, so let's see what you got this year. But you most likely would be the welcome mat of the division. And if you're not, you'll be a coach of the year candidate. So it is what it is.
Yep, not much disagreement here. I think the 49ers will hold on to the division, but Seattle won't be far behind them. I just think the 49ers did everything they could have done in this offseason to remain a contender. For the most part, they made all the right moves. They made the right trades. They got some guys like Trent Williams there to help out. So I think that to me might offset the hangover that might be coming. But you are right, Drink. I think teams are going to pressure them a little more and force Jimmy Garoppolo to do a bit more. That's a very good point. Something we'll probably see, but I think they'll be able to weather the storm. Seahawks not far behind. We all know how good they are. Jamal Adams added to the roster. Hopefully for them, it pushes them over the edge. And then, the Rams, as much as I like Cam Akers and my boy from Florida State, I don't know if he can save this storm that's coming for the Rams. And, the Cardinals could be a real surprise team. They got the offense clicking now. And Isaiah Simmons is the single best thing you could have done for that defense in the offseason. So we'll see how it plays out. So, all right, that's the full rundown. So real quick, guys, from top to bottom, Drink, we'll start with you. Just your 4 division winners and your 3 wild cards real quick.
All right, so for the AFC, we're doing
AFC first, yeah.
Okay, so for the AFC, I got the Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Colts as division winners. Mm-hmm. And then I got the Broncos, Browns, and Titans as the 3 wild card teams. And do you want me to do –
Yeah, go ahead in the NFC, yeah.
Okay, and then for the NFC, I got the Saints, Vikings, Seahawks, and Eagles as division winners. Then I got the Packers, Bucks, and 49ers as the wild card teams.
All right, we got Jay.
All right, in the AFC, your division winners 1 through 4, you've got the Ravens, you've got the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Colts. Your wild cards 5 through 7 will be the Steelers, the Bills, and the Broncos. And then the NFC 1 through 4 in the divisions, we got the Saints, the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Eagles, and then 5 through 7 wild cards will be the 49ers, the Packers, and the Bucks.
All right, just real quick for myself, Patriots, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs for your divisions, Broncos, Steelers, Bills for your wild cards, and the other side of the fence, Cowboys, Vikings, Tampa Bay, and the 49ers with Seattle, Eagles, and the Saints as your wild cards.